Something unusual is happening all around you. An unseen struggle for your attention, your heart, and ultimately, your destiny. You might have noticed the constant flood of distractions, opinions, and noise that seem designed to keep you from focusing on what's truly important. Perhaps you've sensed that your life has a specific purpose, one that pulls at you when everything else falls silent. But what if there's more to it than you ever suspected? What if there's a hidden force determined to tear you away from that very mission? Rumors have swirled for years about so-called chosen ones, or individuals who sense a divine pull toward a significant calling. Some find this idea intriguing, while others dismiss it as mere fantasy. Nonetheless, stories persist. Stories about fierce opposition, relentless distractions, and even a kind of protective anger that emerges when these chosen individuals are threatened. A sense of urgency fills the air, suggesting that the time to understand these forces is right now. There's a startling truth that most people miss. This conflict isn't just about beliefs or philosophies, it's a battle for your focus. The moment you realize that your greatest asset is your undivided attention, you begin to see why countless distractions swirl around you daily. And yet, there's another piece to this puzzle that's even more surprising. The idea that a powerful, protective wrath arises whenever someone tries to derail you from your higher purpose. In the chapters ahead, you'll discover exactly how this all ties together, why the noise seems louder at certain points of your life, how influences both obvious and subtle can steer you away from your calling, and why there's an intense, loving outrage that springs forth to safeguard you. Step into these revelations with an open mind and prepare to see your path in a light you never expected. A quiet but relentless war wages over your most precious resource, your attention. In today's world, countless people, platforms, and headlines clamor for a piece of your mind. On the surface, it seems normal, just modern life in action. But if you look closer, you'll find something more insidious, a calculated effort to keep you so busy, so preoccupied, that you never realize your full potential. For those who sense they're meant for something greater, this battle can be especially fierce. Some controversies frame this war as a massive conspiracy, suggesting that institutions or shadowy figures seek to keep powerful individuals, chosen ones, distracted and disempowered. Whether you believe such conspiracies or not, there's no denying how easily we all get lost in trivial matters. Think of how quickly social media can devour hours of your day, or how gossip and petty arguments invade your mental space. You might dismiss these as harmless interruptions, but cumulatively, they chip away at your capacity to concentrate on what truly matters. The deeper issue isn't just external noise, it's the subtle infiltration of your thoughts. A random comment from a peer can nag at you all day. A sensational headline can spark anxiety. An offhand remark online can derail your entire focus. In this climate, your attention becomes a precious commodity to be guarded at all costs. If you fail to protect it, you might wake up one day to realize your grand ideas and purpose have faded into the background. That's precisely why recognizing this war is so vital. Once you see it, you can begin fortifying yourself with boundaries. You learn to identify which distractions merely entertain and which are actively sabotaging your sense of purpose. Understanding this conflict is step one in reclaiming the destiny you may have long suspected was yours. Yet, as serious as these distractions can be, they pale in comparison to the fierce anger ignited when someone tries to thwart a divinely orchestrated mission. And so, we arrive at a rarely discussed dimension of divine intervention. It's easy to imagine a benevolent force that nurtures and protects you in a soft, comforting way. But there's also a powerful, protective side, one that will not stand idle when your path is threatened. Before you dismiss this as superstition, remember that real love isn't always mild. Sometimes it comes roaring to defend what belongs to it. Talk to people who believe they have a higher calling, and you'll discover a fascinating undercurrent of stories. From ancient texts to modern testimonies, there's mention of something akin to righteous anger whenever a chosen individual is at risk of losing their path. This often baffles outsiders. How, they ask, could a loving force exhibit wrath? But dig deeper, and it starts making sense. If you had someone you cherished deeply, someone who held a vital key to a broader plan, wouldn't you feel outrage if they were led astray? Controversial discussions flourish around this topic. Some argue that pure love cannot coincide with anger, while others counter that love sometimes requires a fierce stance to protect what's sacred. The rumors and debates have continued for centuries, fueled by stories of sudden reversals of fortune for those who deliberately tried to sabotage a chosen person's journey. Perhaps these are coincidences, or maybe they reveal a cosmic mechanism of protection, an unseen hand ensuring that malicious interventions don't succeed. Nevertheless, the concept can be unsettling. Many prefer to see life as random, with no grand design. Yet for those who felt that unstoppable passion rising within them, it's comforting to think they're not alone. This anger is not aimed at petty vengeance. It's aimed at preserving a divine blueprint. Individuals on the brink of a groundbreaking mission often speak of an inexplicable sense of safety, even when outsiders wage a campaign of doubt or manipulation against them. In simpler terms, imagine a gardener protecting a rare seedling from pests. The gardener's dedication goes beyond mere maintenance. There's an active, almost defensive energy. That's what's at play here. The unwavering commitment of a higher power, ensuring that your path remains clear. Still, these guardianship measures don't eliminate the obstacles altogether, especially the ones that come disguised as everyday trifles. The next challenge is more pervasive, the hazard posed by even the smallest distraction. Because while protective anger might remove major threats, the day-to-day nuisance of small, consistent diversions can be just as damaging. If a gardener removes the largest weeds but ignores thousands of tiny pests, the plant can still be choked off before it blossoms. In life, these little distractions can accumulate until they erode your sense of direction. And that's precisely where we're headed next. The stealthy danger that creeps in under the guise of normalcy. Distractions are more deceptive than outright attacks because they arrive quietly and appear harmless. You open an app for a quick update, and suddenly 20 minutes vanish. You overhear gossip and engage in idle talk, losing momentum on a crucial task. These seemingly trivial moments, repeated day after day, create a pattern that can sabotage you more effectively than any blatant enemy. In fact, some speculate that these endless diversions are a deliberate tool to lull people into complacency. The truly alarming part is that many of these distractions aren't obviously negative. They might be mildly entertaining, intriguing, or even appear beneficial at first. Yet they can hijack your mental space to the point where your own goals and sense of calling get sidelined. In certain circles, rumors persist that this is by design. Whether orchestrated by cynics, profiteers, or something more shadowy, the end result remains the same. If your mind is scattered, you can't focus on your higher purpose. Consider the cumulative effect. If each day you lose time and mental clarity to frivolous pursuits, you inch further from your potential. Before long, you may feel disconnected from the path you once cherished. Distraction isn't just an annoyance, it can rob you of your destiny. This is why every so-called chosen one must learn to identify and neutralize these subtle threats. It's not enough to fight off obvious hostility. You must guard against anything that chips away at your focus. Beyond the spiritual impact, distractions take a tangible toll on your life. They can strain your relationships, undermine professional ambitions, and drain emotional well-being. One might argue that the entire structure of modern society is built around splitting your attention in every possible direction. To truly stand apart, you must go against that flow. You must see distractions for what they are and develop a discipline that keeps your eyes on your purpose. But distractions aren't the only obstacle. Sometimes the environment you inhabit and the people you allow into your life can drag you off course. It's one thing to get sidetracked by fleeting amusements. It's another to be systematically influenced, whether by friends, mentors, or even family who might have plans that clash with your greater calling. That's a deeper layer of complexity, one that demands discernment beyond mere willpower. When an individual starts openly pursuing a higher calling, it can ruffle feathers. Skeptics might scoff, calling it self-delusion or arrogance. Even those who care about you could unconsciously project their limitations onto your path. It's not always malicious. Sometimes people simply fear the unknown. Yet in other cases, hidden agendas lurk. Stories abound of individuals who manipulated someone's sense of purpose for their personal gain, whether to keep them from leaving a shared venture, to siphon their resources, or to direct attention to themselves. At times, these situations spark controversies, especially in groups that revolve around charismatic leaders. Suddenly, the question arises: is that leader a genuine visionary or someone spinning grand tales to keep followers tethered? Reports and rumors swirl, each side claiming to hold the real truth. The problem is, if you're caught in the middle, it's easy to lose clarity. Who truly has your best interests at heart? How can you stay loyal to your divine nudge without falling prey to manipulation? Central to all this is the notion that you can't simply conform to others' expectations. If you believe your path was set long before any worldly influences came along, that knowledge becomes your anchor. Sure, wise counsel can guide you, but it should never override your core calling. And sometimes, the hardest part is discerning supportive voices from those with ulterior motives. Skepticism is often healthy, yet cynicism can become toxic if it leads you to reject all possibility of a higher design. Remember, the world can be enthralling, but it can also be cunning. If you sense you were chosen for something extraordinary, know that the forces urging you to stay normal or to remain quiet will likely intensify. This is where the lines between subtle influence and outright deception can blur. And there's another, even more personal trap, one that ensnares many who start strong on their chosen path, only to veer off course later. The compulsion to please everyone else can be its own downfall. You might start bending your purpose just to avoid conflict or gain acceptance. Unfortunately, That's a quick route to losing everything that makes you unique. Yearning for approval is natural. We all want to be liked, understood, and respected. But there's a tipping point where healthy social desire morphs into an unhealthy obsession with external validation. When every choice you make hinges on whether others will applaud it, you're no longer guided by your inner compass. And if you believe you've been set apart for a higher mission, that mission inevitably becomes compromised. Some of the most heartbreaking stories involve individuals who realized their calling, but compromised it in an attempt to keep everyone happy. In whispered rumors, you hear about people who had extraordinary gifts, be it artistic, spiritual, or intellectual, but who gave up just when they were on the brink of something monumental. Relatives or friends might have insisted on a safer path, or a mentor might have said, "That's too big of a dream. Be realistic." Over time, a slow erosion occurred, wearing down the person's resolve. This isn't mere speculation. It's a common theme in many personal testimonies. The cost of pleasing everyone is steep. It can lead to chronic anxiety or that nagging sense of emptiness because you're not fulfilling what you suspect you were born to do. And ironically, the more you chase universal approval, the more elusive it becomes. People's standards are fickle, shifting with every new trend or mood. Perhaps the darkest side of this lies in how pleasing others can make you forget your true identity. You morph yourself to accommodate external demands. Then one day, you look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. The confusion can be overwhelming, leading to a sense of having lost your soul's direction. This is where a radical step becomes necessary, one that many fear, but which holds the key to setting you free: the decision to surrender to a higher plan. Surrendering isn't about weakness or giving up. It's about releasing the illusion that you must micromanage every detail. In the context of a larger calling, surrender means acknowledging that there's a design bigger than your own plans. You trust that when you align yourself with this design, solutions will emerge and you'll receive guidance you might never have found by clinging to total control. Some rumors paint surrender as a passive act, akin to floating aimlessly, but that's a misconception. True surrender can be one of the most active, decisive choices you ever make. You consciously decide to stop wrestling with forces you can't control and instead channel your energy into what you can: your mindset, your daily actions, and your commitment to a higher vision. By doing so, you step into a flow where possibilities unfold in ways you couldn't have orchestrated on your own. Of course, surrender can feel terrifying at first. Handing over your tight grip on life's steering wheel goes against everything you've been taught, especially if you live in a culture that glorifies self-reliance. But the testimonies of those who have done it suggest a paradox. The less they try to force an outcome, the more breakthroughs they experience. Doors open unexpectedly, resources appear, and coincidences shift into perfect timing. This doesn't mean life becomes a fairy tale. Challenges remain, and doubts may still surface. However, you'll notice a difference in how you approach them. Instead of drowning in desperation, you find a measure of peace in understanding that difficulties have a purpose. Each hurdle can transform into a stepping stone when you embrace the bigger picture. Yet none of this matters if you don't remain vigilant in a world that can be downright chaotic. Chaos has a cunning way of showing up at the precise moment you're on the cusp of something significant. Right when you decide to commit to your calling, your schedule explodes with demands, conflicts pop up among friends or co-workers, and unexpected issues arise out of nowhere. It's almost as if the noise intensifies to test your resolve. The question then becomes, will you bend under the pressure or stand firm? It helps to recognize that chaos often signals you're close to a breakthrough. Many who've reached major milestones recount periods of intense turmoil just before they made a leap forward. It's like there's a universal dance. The moment you align with your true path, opposing forces scramble to unbalance you. Yet, amid that whirlwind, you have an invitation to stand your ground. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to reaffirm your conviction. During these times, toxic relationships might become glaringly apparent. Individuals who claim to support you may reveal hidden negativity. Sometimes, the chaos even arises from your own self-doubt. A small voice whispering that you're not good enough. Regardless of its source, you must identify the negative influences and hold fast to what you know is true about your mission. Easier said than done, of course, but essential if you hope to weather the storm. That's why it's crucial to equip yourself with tools, meditation, prayer, or simply quiet reflection to stay anchored. Journaling your experiences can also help you spot patterns that repeat whenever you're about to step into new territory. Most of all, remember that a protective force is on your side, outraged whenever illusions threaten to derail you. This knowledge should embolden you as you confront the final revelation, understanding your path in the grand context of a story far greater than you. Ultimately, your journey intersects with a grand narrative that spans beyond your immediate life and circumstances. Recognizing that you are part of something larger infuses every challenge, every triumph, and every moment of doubt with deeper meaning. You aren't just surviving the day, you're fulfilling a vital role in a design that existed long before you knew how to name it. This revelation reframes everything. The distractions you face aren't random annoyances. They're tactical disruptions aimed at preventing you from fulfilling your role. The protective anger you sense is no random fury. It's a focused defense mechanism, safeguarding a pivotal piece of a bigger puzzle. Your instinct to please others is an understandable human desire, but it's also a direct threat to your authenticity if taken too far. Once you embrace this realization, you see why staying vigilant is non-negotiable. Your attention is precious. Your calling is delicate, yet immeasurably important. In a world enthralled by glittery trivialities, to stay true to something sacred is nothing short of revolutionary. And it's in that commitment to your unique blueprint that the real magic happens. Serendipities line up, obstacles fade, and your conviction spreads to those around you like a spark in the darkness. So pause, breathe, and consider the gravity of it all. What if the tension you've felt, the chaos you've weathered, and the glimpses of transcendent purpose you've experienced are all part of the same unfolding mystery? What if your life, right now, is pivotal in a grand story that demands you step forward with courage, clarity, and unwavering focus? No one else can walk your path, and no one else can fulfill your purpose. Despite all the swirling voices and influences, you alone hold the power to align with what you believe you were meant to do. The moment you claim that power, everything changes. Distractions may still crowd in, but they lose their hold. People may still whisper doubts, but they can't rattle your core. And above all, the protective force that stands guard over your life, will guide you back whenever you stray. Think about the cost of ignoring this truth. How many dreams have withered because they were drowned out by the world's noise? How many destinies were left unrealized because individuals couldn't find the courage to stand firm? Don't let that be your story. You've come this far, and something within you knows that settling for less is no longer an option. As you step forward from here, keep these insights close. Remember, there's a war for your focus, and that war rages daily. Acknowledge the protective anger that rises on your behalf, and let it remind you just how valuable your calling is. Recognize distractions for what they are, thieves of destiny, and protect your attention with diligence. Choose carefully who influences you, and surrender your need for total control in exchange for something far greater. Above all, realize that you are part of an unfolding story. Embrace the truth that you are not alone in this fight. Somewhere in the tapestry of existence, your thread matters. Your decisions ripple outward, and each time you stand firm, surrender, and trust in the larger design, you honor the profound reason you were placed on this earth. With that awareness, venture boldly onward and watch as the path opens before you in ways you never could have orchestrated on your own.